guys, I'm back in the shop, so yeah, I'm gonna be doing a build or something to that effect. So yeah, enjoy or don't. I don't really give a crap. Just, I don't know. Okay, so I've got these and I cut them out. So I'm gonna do some stuff. And yeah, so first of all, you gotta do this. You gotta go whoop, 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 and you gotta ski. Oh, it's melting. Oh my god, smoke. Smoke and mirrors. Ooh. This is not an advertisement. This is just all I had on hand. So, yeah. There. I'm probably going to use it later, though. Vallejo sponsor. Now we gotta wait for that to dry. Okay, I'm finished with the assembly. So now I made some corrugated cardboard. Ooh, there's a bird. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. Sorry. So yeah, I made that. I just got some regular cardboard and I soaked it with water and peeled the first layer off. So it ends up looking like this corrugated metal stuff. And then I cut it out and used a glue stick to attach it. Usually you shouldn't really use glue sticks for anything in modeling, but paper to paper it's fine. And I mean, this is pretty much just paper, so yeah. Well, anyways, on to the next step. So now what you're going to want to do is get some cardstock or cereal box material and cut it into 2 strips. And then you're going to use a bit of tacky glue or super glue. I used some pretty thick PVA glue, which I guess is technically tacky glue, to glue it on. And even though it seems like you could just do 1 strip, you're going to want to have 2 strips so that way it looks like 2 doors that are closed, because when the 2 doors close, there's kind of like a line in the middle. It seems stupid, but trust me, it ends up looking pretty good. So, on to step numero... quattro, I want to say? I don't know. So what I did next was get some strips of that same cereal box cardstock material, and I glued each of the corners first, just with the same thick PVA glue. And then once it had glued semi-solid, I cut off the excess. You want to make sure that you cut it off once it's fully dry, or else it'll kind of like pop off. You also want to wipe off the excess beads of glue that you see, because if you don't, it could form up into these weird little balls. And then once you've attached the corners, you can go in with some thinner strips about half the size of the corner strips and put those in the middle. You want to do the corners first because if you mess up on the corners, it doesn't look that bad, but because of something about how the human eye works, it looks really bad if you mess up on the middle. So you got to be really careful on the middle. I'm kind of rambling, sorry. So yeah, on to the next step. So what I did in this step was get my Army Painter super glue and some toothpicks. These are ones that I don't even know where I got them. I just found them in my room. But I cut off the pointy ends and I used the super glue to attach them to the door bits we made previously. You want to do one in the middle of either of the thinner pieces you use to make it look like the door was closed. And then you want to do another one on either side in the middle of the other slats. We are supposed to have that gap in the middle between the middle and the top and the middle and the bottom. So just lay the toothpick across that. You don't need to have to worry about using any thick glue to make it attach. It only needs to attach to the cardstock bit. And once you've done that, it's ready for the next step. So the next step is kind of the worst step. I don't know, it's my least favorite step, but consequently is the most important one, which is cutting out thin strips of the cereal box material and covering all of the corners of the corrugated cardboard. It gives it like a cleaner look and makes it look a little more like cargo containers that have like the metal bits on the side. It's just total pain in the ass to do with any type of glue. Super glue, tacky glue. I just don't like doing it. And you've got to make sure the pieces are like super even or else it doesn't look good. And I don't know. Do it as close as you can to being perfect, and then the rest of it just try to cover up with as much paint as possible. So, yep, on to the next step. So in between, I guess, this segment and the last segment, I had clear coated to harden everything up and then prime the model. Now I'm just doing a couple base coats of blue paint on all the sides, which is, again, pretty tedious, but not as bad as the atrocity that I had to sit through for, like, I don't know, an hour of, oh, God, my fingers are still trembling from last night. But, yeah, it's Sunday morning now, and I'm just painting away. I'll come back to you when it's time for something a little more interesting. So once the paint had dried over pretty much the whole cargo container, I got a bit of this turquoise color and mixed it in with the blue, and then later got a little bit of white and mixed it in with that to do some dry brushing over the whole thing. It didn't look super realistic, but I don't know, I just thought it made the model come to life a little better. I don't know, it made it look a little more weathered and scuffed, and it kind of made it look shiny a little bit, like you could see metal underneath. I'm not exactly sure why I did that, but it was still cool. Once you're done with this step, there's really not much left to do, but I'll show you what I did when we get back from this. No, not a commercial break. Bye. So this is just kind of what this looks like after the dry brushing. You can see it's a little lighter in some areas. I don't know, it looks a little scuffed up. If you don't like it looking weathered like that, then you don't have to do it, but that's just what I chose to do. So now, after that, I just get my homemade wash, which is 7 parts water, 2 parts acrylic paint, and 1 part dish soap. You don't have to be super accurate with the measuring, but just try. And then once you've sprayed that onto your model, just brush it in the gaps. This wash, because I've used it quite a bit, isn't super, like, thick as I wanted it to, and it didn't really shade things down too well, but it ended up turning out okay. And after this, you can choose to do rust and stuff like that, but you don't really have to. This time, I actually didn't do rust or anything because I got a little tired, but next time I will. So, yeah, it's pretty much the end of the build. I'll show you what it looks like. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.